Welcome back to MSG AM. Monica and Kaz here with you as the show rolls on. We are super excited to welcome in our contributor, Nick Mangold, former Jets center, seven-time Pro Bowler, not only a football guy, but also the creator of 74 Barbecue, a series of barbecue lines. Nick, we can't wait to get into all of that stuff with you. But first, I understand that with the kiddos at home in quarantine and all things 2020, you've also doubled down as a homeschool teacher.
Yeah, not willingly, but last spring having the kids at home, it was tricky, but we got through it. Now the kids are in hybrid, and so that's fun that they get to go back to school a little bit. We just really want them to get back to 5 days a week because we are not good. We are not good teachers.
Now, Nick, obviously, I hate to have such a strong pivot from talking about the kids and things you love to another love, which is football and the Jets and the current state of affairs going on in the Meadowlands right now. I mean, there's been a lot of change and there hasn't been a lot of winning. I'd love to get your thoughts right now on the current state of the Jets franchise, man.
Yeah, it's not good. I think being 0-8, is not only does it have a terrible ring to it, but it also is just bad football. And we have a game tonight against the Patriots, which is always a heated rivalry. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Sam being out, throws it for a little tailspin, but Joe Flacco I think is capable, and so. It's going to be interesting, and I really would like a win to make it a little bit better. I see other teams getting wins, and it seems nice. So I'd like to get that feeling, maybe this week.
Is there a bright spot, Nick? Like if you had to hang your hat on something that's a silver lining, is there one?
Yeah, there are. It's tough to look for it, especially when we're talking. I think the biggest, brightest spot is Mekhi Becton. Watching him play at left tackle, no one gets to see it on TV. You can't watch it live, but he is a dominating force. And so as long as he continues to grow, keep getting better and better, I think the sky's the limit for him. And I'm really excited to watch him develop and see what he can do and hold down that left tackle spot for many years.
Now, Nick, obviously, the world has changed, especially in the world of sports, and specifically in the Meadowlands, because as certain stadiums are having fans in the seats now, New York, New Jersey, obviously you're here in New Jersey, Meadowlands is still empty. How would you perform if you had to play in front of no fans in the crowd?
I still would like to believe that I would play at a very high level. But it would be a very eerie feeling going in and not hearing the roar of the crowd, scoring a touchdown and not hearing the roar of the crowd, a huge defensive stop or interception. That would be odd. I think right now, with where the team is, being 0-8, they might be kind of fortunate that they don't have fans in the stands, raining down the boo birds on them.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to approach that.
That's a positive spin to put on it. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm like, could be worse. He could be getting things pelted at you. You can see Fireman Jim, you know what I mean, like going crazy. But there's always a bright spot. Thank you for being positive, Nick.
All right. So we got a little football vocabulary. We are turning to you as our professor, Nick, because we have questions. Gettleman refers to the offensive line as hog mollies. Kaz doesn't know what a hog molly is. I don't know what a hog molly is. Should you be offended?
It sounds
What's
like
a hog molly?
Something that I should be offended by. I'm like, somebody calls me a hog molly. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I got to fight you over it now.
It's kind of one of those things, offensive line, the hogs up front, because I think people just assume that we're fat and sloppy and just like laying around in the mud. So, I think that's where it stems from. After a while of being an offensive lineman, you start taking those terms a little close to your heart, and you turn them from being a negative into a positive.
And shout out to my producer, by the way. I called him Fireman Jim instead of Fireman Ed. It's still early. This is what we're doing at MSG AM.
Early.
Yo, shout out obviously, the hog mollies, the people up the front, your number one job is to protect the guy behind you, protect the guy in the center. And I'm sure they got to return the favor eventually. So, Nick, what some of the best quarterback gifts you've ever been given for doing your job so well for over the years?
It's amazing the generosity of quarterbacks, even in years that you don't do so great, which you then feel bad. But I remember my rookie year coming into the league. We had Chad Pennington here, and after the season, he bought us, and now this is dating me a little bit, he bought us brand new Blu-ray players. I mean, they're hot on the market, and the thing was huge, the size of like a huge box. But I thought that was the coolest thing. Like, wow, this new technology that barely anybody has, and here I am getting it as a gift.
Nice.
We're going to have to follow up on, I'm curious about how the gifts goes, but I understand that there's a more pressing story that we need to share with our New York audience about rookie dinners and David Deal and something along those lines.
Yeah, David and I, having spent our time here in New York, we've traded plenty of rookie dinner stories, and it's always kind of a tradition. When you have rookies, they take the veterans out, and it's wild. So when I was a rookie, we had 2 first-round picks, me and DeBrickshaw Ferguson, and we ended up taking the guys to the Bahamas for our dinner. Other years, we've had 1, maybe no draft picks, and we've had dinner at Applebee's and everything in between. So it's a wild time. It's a good night to get out.
I'm sorry, Nick. Did you say the Bahamas? You said you took your veterans to the Bahamas for dinner.
I wasn't sure I heard that right
the lead there. I'm like, how much did that run you? What kind of price tag are we talking? If you're taking planes to go have dinners,
did they buy their own flight and then y'all paid for the food? Like, how did that work?
2 first-round picks. The guys took advantage of it, and I won't get into specifics, but it was a hefty bill.
I can imagine. Goodness.
Oh man, like Jay-Z once said, your accountant probably gets the Medal of Freedom for this because, man, I'm sure that must have ran up a hefty check when it comes to paying that bill. My goodness, Monica, what you got?
I can only imagine.